Ray Bradbury. All Summer in One Day. Today we're going to read this story from the fiction series. Already. Now. When. Soon. Do scientists know for sure? Will it really be today? Look, you'll see for yourself. The children huddled together like flowers, like weeds, jostling, fussing. Everyone wanted to see the hidden sun. It was raining. It had been raining for 7 years, thousands of days filled with rain, consisting entirely of rain, the roar and roll of the rain, the crystal waterfalls of hail, the raging hurricanes like a tsunami that flood the islands. Thousands of forest thickets were destroyed by rain, and 1,000 times they were reborn to perish again. This has always been the case on Venus, and this is how it was known to the school children gathered in the classroom, the children of astronauts who flew to this rainy world to master it and live here all their lives. It's ending, it's ending. Really? Margot stood at a distance, away from the children, who did not remember a single minute without rain, rain, rain. They were 9 years old, and even if 7 years ago there had been a day when the sun had come out for an hour and revealed its face to the astonished world, they did not remember it. Sometimes at night she heard them rushing about, disturbed by vague visions. And Margot knew that they were dreaming of gold or a yellow pencil or a huge coin that could buy the whole world. She knew that they felt warmth, like a hot wave suddenly rushing to a person's face, running over his body, arms, legs. And every time they woke up, they heard the monotonous fraction of an endless stream of transparent beads falling on the roof, the path, the gardens, the forests. And the dreams disappeared. All yesterday in the classroom they read about the sun. How similar it is to lemon, how hot it is. And the children wrote short stories and poems about the sun. In my opinion, the sun is a flower that blossoms for an hour. It was written by Margot. A quiet voice read a poem in the hushed classroom, and it was raining outside. You didn't make it up. One of the boys shouted. No, Margot said, I'm on my own. William. The teacher interjected. But that was yesterday. Now the rain became rarer, and children crowded around the huge windows. Where's the teacher? He'll be back in a moment. Where is she? We will all miss it. They spun like spokes in a rapidly spinning wheel. Margot stood alone. A fragile, sickly girl, she looked as if she had been in the rain for several years, and it dissolved all the blue of her eyes, all the scarlet of her lips, all the yellowness of her hair. She was an old, faded photograph from a dusty album, and when she spoke, which rarely happened, her voice was like a ghost. Now, standing aside, she stared intently at the rain, at the noisy wet world behind the thick glass. What did you see there? William asked. Margot was silent. Answer when asked. He pushed her, but she continued to stand still, as if she had not felt the jolt. The children avoided Margot, did not want to look at her. She felt how they were avoiding her. And all because she never participated in the games that began in the reverberating tunnels of the underground city. Someone would catch it and run away, but it stood still, only flapping its eyes. When the whole class sang about joy, about life, about merry games, her lips moved slightly. Only when they sang about the sun and summer, Margot sang along, looking at the rain-drenched windows. But Margot's greatest crime was, of course, that she had come here from Earth only 5 years ago, when she was 4 years old, and she remembered the sun, its golden rays, and the blue Ohio sky. They had spent their whole lives on Venus. They were only 2 years old the last time the sun appeared, and they had long since forgotten its color, its face, the warmth of its rays. And Margot remembered. It looks like a coin, she said one day, closing her eyes. Not true, the children shouted. It's like a fire in a furnace, she said. You're lying, you don't remember anything. The children shouted. But Margot remembered, and quietly stepping aside, looked at the striated glass. Once, a month ago, she refused to take a shower in the school shower room. Covering the crown of her head and ears with her hands, she screamed in fear that the water would fall on her head. From then on, Margot vaguely felt that she was not like the other children, and they felt that difference too. It was said that Margot's father and mother would take her back to Earth the following year. There was simply no other way out, although it meant the loss of many thousands of dollars for her family. For all these reasons, serious and unimportant, the children did not like Margot. They did not like her snow-white face, her expectant silence, her fragility, and her future. "Go away." The boy pushed her again. "What are you waiting for?" Only then did she turn and look at him. Her eyes told her what she was waiting for. "Listen, there's no need to hang around here." The boy shouted angrily. "You won't see anything." Margot's lips quivered. "Nothing." He shouted. "It's all pretend, isn't it?" He turned to the others. "Nothing will happen today. Am I right? How come?" Margot whispered, looking at them helplessly. "After all, today, scientists predicted. They reported. They know. The sun. It's all pretend." The boy replied and pushed her painfully. "Hey boys, let's lock her up in the closet. Hurry, before the teacher comes." "Don't," Margot whispered, sitting down on the floor. The children swooped in from all sides, grabbed her and carried her away. Margot fought back, begged, cried, but they dragged her down the underground corridor into a large room, pushed her into a closet, and locked the door. Muffled screams came from the closet. The door shook from the jolts and blows from within. The children, laughing, ran out into the corridor and returned to the classroom at the same time as the teacher. "Children, are you ready?" She glanced at her watch. "Yes." They replied in unison. "Is everyone here?" "Yes." The rain had almost stopped. They squeezed through the big door. The rain stopped. As if in the midst of a movie about avalanches, typhoons, hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, something broke in the projectionist's booth. First came the sound. Suddenly there was complete silence. The howling of the wind and the peals of thunder were no longer heard. Then someone pulled the tape out of the machine and replaced it with a still image of a serene tropical landscape. The world was petrified. The silence was so overwhelming and unbelievable that it seemed that either your ears were blocked or you were completely deaf. The children put their hands to their ears. The door closed silently behind them, and they felt the breath of a world frozen in anticipation. The sun appeared. It was very large, the color of flaming bronze. A dazzling blue sky surrounded him. The forest burned in the rays of the sun. In an instant, the children, freed from the spell, rushed towards spring with a jubilant squeal. "Don't run too far." The teacher shouted after them. "Remember, you only have 2 hours at your disposal. Otherwise you will get caught in the rain." And the children all ran forward, turning their faces to the sky and feeling the hot caress of the sun on their cheeks. They took off their jackets and exposed their hands to the sun's rays. Isn't it better than solar lamps? 100 times. They stopped in the midst of the forest that covered Venus, a wonderful forest that grew before their eyes, violently, violently. Spurred on by the fleeting spring, the fleshy branches stretched upward, blossomed, wriggled like the tentacles of an octopus. The forest, deprived of sunlight for many years, was the color of rubber and ash, stone and cheese, ink and moon. The children, laughing, lay on the elastic living carpet and listened to how it hissed and squelched under them. They ran between the trees, slid, fell, played heap of molla hide-and-seek tag. But most of them looked at the sun for a long time, to tears, stretched out their hands to the amazing blue and golden light, breathed in the unprecedentedly fresh air and greedily listened to the silence, as if soaring in a gentle sea of silence and peace. They were in a hurry to see and feel everything. Then they took off and ran screaming in a circle, like animals jumping out of a den. They ran like this for an hour and could not stop. And suddenly, in the midst of the jubilation, one girl gave a shrill cry. Everyone froze. She stood in the clearing with her arm outstretched. "Oh, look!" she babbled. The children hesitantly approached and looked at her open palm. In the middle of the palm lay a large shiny drop. And the girl began to cry. The children looked up at the sky. Oh, ouch! Rare cold drops fell on their noses, cheeks, and open mouths. A light cloud covered the sun. A cool breeze blew. They turned and walked back to the underground house. His hands hung dejectedly, his smiles disappeared. Thunder roared. In an instant, like leaves caught in a gust of wind, they sped off like leaves, pushing each other. Lightning flashed, closer, closer, 10 kilometers, 5, 1 kilometer, half a kilometer. Suddenly it was as dark as midnight. They stopped in the doorway for a moment. But a downpour poured down, and they closed the doors. Outside, the heavy roar of an avalanche of water could be heard, omnipresent and incessant. "Now you have to wait another 7 years." "Yes, 7 years." Someone shouted. "Margot." "What?" "She's still there, in the closet." "Margot." They stood as if nailed to the floor, looking at each other, then lowered their heads. We looked out of the window, where the rain was again stubbornly, non-stop. They could not look into each other's eyes. Their faces became pale and serious. They looked down at their hands, at their feet. "Margot." "Well?" one of the girls said. No one moved. "Let's go," she whispered. They moved slowly through the hallway. The cold roll of rain, the howling of the wind, the peals of thunder, the ominous reflections of blue lightning accompanied them. They entered the room slowly and stopped at the closet door. Not a sound came from there. They opened the door even more slowly and let Margot out. Friends, thank you for watching. Support the channel with subscriptions, comments, and a thumbs up. I am waiting for you at the next get-together with the book. Your narrator, Irene.